What do we talk about today? I hate it. I hate defensive and offensive
Yeah.
coordinators.
Yeah, the head coaching cycle. Apparently, all of the teams are fucked. According to Devin, all the teams are out. They're out of luck. They can't find anyone.
We predicted the divisional round no QB corner this week because there's not enough quarterbacks, and a little bit of draft fraud in there too.
Also, is Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford, was that trade the best in NFL history? We talk about it.
All that and more. Please like the video. We need it. We need it. It's free. Just press the button. I'm Devin. That's Zane. This is Buffet Sports. Let's talk about the playoffs.
Woo!
Yeah, okay, good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. Dropping heat like every season. Underdog like Willie Beeman. Classic like Dom singing. Blasting like bombs ringing. I guess.
We live?
Yes.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, we watched Sam Darnold shit the bed tonight.
Yeah, we did.
That was... Let's just get into it. Let's just get into it. Like, I can't even... That was one of those games you come away from it and you're just like, what the fuck did I watch? Like, it was like the Lions-Texans game that we watched earlier this year. Like, you just come away from the game and you're just in disbelief. Like, it's... Sorry, I just had to jerk off my mic. I think it's just one of those games you just don't... You don't quite know... Like, I can't even imagine what's going on in the Vikings, like in the Vikings,
it's one of those ones
management head. Like,
it's like anti-football. It's like anti-stats.
No, it's not even. No, but like the Rams won the game. Like, it wasn't like it was like the Vikings shouldn't. It was just they just played like just the whole. Like, I came into it in the second half because I was up getting my mind blown with other. And then I came in the second half and I got to watch the second half. But I mean, it seems like the story was pretty much the same thing. I can't the thing I can't imagine is for the Vikings ownership, because they were probably getting ready to foot Sam Darnold, foot the Sam Darnold bill.
Yeah.
And then you come away from this game and you go, well, we don't know what we've got. Like, we thought we knew what we had, and we thought maybe the Lions game was a one-off, but now you got a sample size of at least two, and there was a stretch during the regular season where he had a couple bad games, and you start to kind of question yourself. So, I mean, it makes my prediction look better that he could be a free agent, and some of these teams that need a quarterback that could get one in the draft but could probably get a better position player somewhere else might take a swing on him if they're just like, you know what, I need a good regular season. I mean, like I said, the Giants, they just need a good regular season. And if Sam can get you 14 wins and you've got, I mean, obviously the Vikings aren't the fucking, the Giants aren't the Vikings, but like.
At the end of the day, for the Vikings franchise, you're trying to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't know what you do because J.J. McCarthy's not the answer.
Yes, but at the same time, we've seen what Kevin O'Connell can do with Sam.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying, but J.J. McCarthy, year two, coming off of 2 knee surgeries in his rookie year, that's not the same thing.
So are you thinking about Danny Dimes did look good in that uniform.
Danny Dimes looks good in that uniform. I think that you give Sam another 1 year.
Another 1 year?
I think, like, if I'm the Vikings, after that performance, I no longer have to worry about the highest bidder anymore. And I know that I can get him at a cheap price because he's going to be begging to stay. Because the rest of the league's probably like, we're good. Because if they won that game, I think if they win that game, the rest of the league, then it turns into kind of a bidding match. But I think the Vikings have a leg up on everyone else because they took the chance on him. Yeah. So I think you can kind of name your price, and Sam will be like, okay, sure, I'll take it.
I'll take what you said and tweak it a little bit. I think it's more probable that you can give Sam a 1 year and he'll take it. But I still think there's plenty of teams around the league that'll take a shot on Sam and give him more money. But I think it's like if they won this game, I think it would have been very hard to get Sam back.
You're overestimating the brain that some of the rest of the GMs have in the league.
Yeah.
And that those guys, that even though they should probably take Sam and they should take a swing, and it's better than any quarterback they get in the draft or most other guys outside of Kirk that you're going to get in free agency, they're, how do I say this in a nice way? They lack enough brain cells to like put that together. to put that together, they should pay Sam. They're just going to see this game and go, no, and then go get a rookie and win 2 games.
Yeah.
So, you're overestimating the rest of the league's brain, I think.
So what do you think the Vikings realistically do in this scenario?
I think they sign Sam probably to a 1 year, and it's a quarterback battle in the
good old 3-way.
In the preseason. Yeah, I can't see him after this game going everywhere else, because the league is more than ever very hot and cold on guys. There's not a lot of okay, he had a bad game, but we still believe in him. The only team that's going to do that is the team where the guy's at currently. They're gonna, because they've got a large enough sample size. They've seen his work ethic day in and day out in the building. But the rest of the league is so hot and cold that I think his market is. I mean, unless it's the Jets, depending on what that happens. But
it's kind of like last year with the coaching cycle, how a bunch of old coaches didn't get any offers. They went with the young guys. It's kind of like that this year with the QBs, especially when you have Jaden Daniels who won a playoff game. Everybody's like, give me the shiny new toy.
Yeah.
Instead of going. So I see where you're coming from. Which
is the problem. We can kind of talk a little bit about draft rock, because I've started looking at the quarterbacks and seeing what that looks like, and the big problem is that there's no quarterback in this draft class that's life changing.
Yeah.
I think from everything I've watched up to this point, it's Monday, but since last Monday, everything I've watched to this point is Shedeur has been, and I don't say this as a hater, I say this genuinely, he's being overhyped, and it's going to bite him in the ass. He's being overhyped, and it's his expectations are going to be way too big. So I think if you're going to take a quarterback, the Titans are going to take Cam Ward. And I think from watching what Shedeur has and knowing Cleveland, I think if you're the Patriots, you're even more safe. I'm even more steadfast in what I said about being able to get Travis Hunter, because I think Cam will go 1. Cleveland will get bamboozled into going Shedeur at 2. We don't really know what the Giants are going to do, but I don't think it's Travis Hunter. But I think Cam Ward can be okay for, I kind of look at him the same way Bryce Young I did with Bryce Young for different reasons, but I think he's an 8-year guy. And Shedeur is a 5-year bust.
Yeah. So we just talked about Sam. Let's flip it over to the other side of the ball. The guy who won the game, Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. You remember the trade, the Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford trade.
Yeah.
Is that not the best trade in the history of the NFL for both teams? Because you got a Super Bowl.
Not yet. It depends. It depends on how the next couple of years shakes out. But
you got a Super Bowl out of Matthew Stafford from the trade. Yeah. And then now Jared Goff and the Lions are in a position to win a Super Bowl. If Jared Goff can win a Super Bowl.
If they never, that's a big if though. That's a big if.
But there's nobody better. The only one that I saw on my quick research was Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, and that was a draft trade.
Oh, you're just talking about the trade?
Yeah, the best trade for both teams. In the history of trades, this is the best for both of them.
Yeah, if you're just looking at wins, I don't know. I'm a Goff believer, so there's no doubt in Goff. It's just there's a window here, and it's the NFC, so it is bigger, but at the same time, Goff's window is not long. Yeah. So you got to win in the next couple of years. And honestly, I feel like it's more of it's a good seasons. The Lions, you look back in 10 years at these Lions seasons, and you'll say, wow, these were really good years for them.
Those were the good old days.
At the same time, though, the same way we talk about the Vikings after tonight, what is a 14-win season and an NFC Championship trip 2 years in a row if you can't finish?
That's true, but I don't know how Lions fans would feel about it, but I think, they'll take it for sure. It's just such a massive improvement from what they were. And off of that trade, it kind of snowballed, turning the Lions into what they are now. So I think that's the best trade in the history of the NFL, Jared Goff or Matthew Stafford.
I don't know. I haven't looked into like what other big trades have happened because there's the NFL is not a big trade happy team, so it could be for sure. I just think you gotta win. You gotta win, and then I would agree with you. If both teams end up with a Super Bowl by the end of it, both quarterbacks win a Super Bowl, then for sure. But I think you're still holding your breath a little bit here.
Yeah. So do you have something, or do you want to get into the coaching cycle this year?
It's so funny. We're in the midst of the playoffs. It's like the best time of the year, and you're like coaching and draft.
Well,
we can talk about it.
Do you have anything for the playoffs? Because
we can talk.
We're gonna get into predictions, and then that's when
we can talk about we can talk about the coaching cycle.
Yeah,
sure.
Coaching cycle. So we have a couple of teams.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 teams that are just interviewing everyone, the Jets and the Bears. Mm-hmm. But there are a couple of other teams. I thought it'd be fun to try and predict who's gonna hire what coach.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can see. I mean, Rabel. We talked about Rabel a little bit, off camera. I think that was the plan all along, and they were just honoring Bill's wishes of hiring Gerard Mayo. That was the most surefire thing. I mean, we didn't even get out of January before they hired Rabel,
I know.
So that one was pretty clear cut to me.
And there's a rule where you have to I don't know how many it is, but you have to interview minorities.
5 interviews, yeah.
You have to, and there's you have to interview minorities for the head coaching job. Mm. So the Patriots, they interviewed a guy who was a UFL head coach, and they're going viral because apparently they're making fun of the rule by hiring a guy by interviewing a UFL coach. Whatever, not the point. But Mike McCarthy got fired today. Well, not fired, but just didn't get re-signed today.
Yeah, they were parted ways.
Any ideas? Who's going to go to the Cowboys?
I mean, it's you could say it if you want.
Deion Sanders. That's the only person I'm thinking of.
That's the only guy that I think would reasonably deal with Jerry, and I think has enough life, in his years of life, to outlast Jerry.
Yeah.
In the coaching cycle. So yeah, it makes sense. And Deion was around when Deion was around when Jerry was the guy. So it's unsurprising that he's got fond memories in his geriatric brain of him, and so it'll happen. They'll win 4 games and be terrible, and then he'll keep him around because it's like the Zeke thing.
Yeah, Jerry kind of just ruined his chances at getting Aaron Glenn and what's his name? Ben Johnson. Right, he ruined his chances. But even if they were going to go there, he missed the window to interview him because he was dealing with the Mike McCarthy contract. So now they have to wait till their season ends.
This is another Rabel situation. I don't think they want to interview anyone else.
Who are they gonna? Oh, they're just gonna go straight for Deion.
I just think they want Deion.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
I think it was either keep Mike or go Deion. Jerry's gonna make his decision. He's not gonna listen to other opinions or hear other guys out. What he wants goes. And I think it's another Rabel situation personally.
So a couple of interesting coaches that I noticed while looking through this. Mm-hmm. Pete Carroll has 2 job interviews. That's kind of one that's popping up on the scene that I kind of forgot about.
Who are his?
His is the Bears, and then the Raiders. I'm thinking that's a Tom Brady pick.
Gosh.
The Raiders one. I think that's a Tom Brady pick. Oof. He's interviewing.
I think we got to let these old coaches just die. Not literally, but just just let it go, because this is something I've brought up in the past. Is everyone talks about why are all these teams taking shots on the young head coaches. Bill Belichick was a young coach at one time. Mm-hmm. So you have to go through, yes, is the coaching cycles that we go through a bit extreme where it's 8 games, 12 games, same year, yes, it is extreme the amount of guys that these teams are going through. But at the same time, to get a 20-year guy, you got to go through 10 or 15. Yeah. To find your guy that's going to last you a long time, and you got to go through a lot of young guys to find that guy that's going to last you that long, 30 years or whatever, to where you have, majority of those 30 years are winning teams. So I feel like Pete Carroll, you got to let him go. If he goes anywhere, maybe I think the Bears probably over the Raiders. He doesn't feel like a Raiders guy.
Yeah, he really doesn't.
Yeah.
I think if you are the Raiders and you don't get Aaron Glenn or Ben Johnson, those are the premier guys everyone's going for.
I think Aaron Glenn will get a job. I think Aaron Glenn will get a job. I think Ben Johnson's going to stay.
I don't know.
I think what he does, I think he's smart enough to know what he does with the Lions he can't do anywhere else.
I've said it before, I still don't believe that a guy who is an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, their dream isn't being a head coach. Like, no matter the situation.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying that he's never going to be a head coach. But what you've got in Detroit, you're not going to get anywhere else. And you're probably going to get fired in a year. So why would you give that up for the chance to go win multiple Super Bowls and do all this crazy shit and get all sorts of praise for a couple years until the right job opens up and actually take the right job? I don't think any of these are the right job.
I don't know. I agree with you in the thought process. I just don't think any OC or DC does that.
But that's the thing is I think there's a bit of, depending on the team you're on, there's a bit of, I should be getting the credit. Mm-hmm. The Lions aren't that way. Like, Dan is very forthright with, like, these guys make the show run. Like,
during an interview, he was like, I'm surprised
Aaron
or Ben.
He's talking about Aaron.
If they don't get jobs, I would be happy to have him back.
Yeah, he was talking about Aaron. He's like, if no one wants to hire him, I'll take him back. Like, he's a fantastic coach. He may be a defensive coordinator, but he knows how to game manage. He knows game management. He knows how to run an offense. He knows how to run day-to-day operations. He's going on and on. Mm-hmm. I think the Lions and Dan specifically, and this comes from like a security thing of like, oddly enough, this goes to just like the person you are, is like he's very secure in who he is and the team that he has around him, that he like, and just secure in himself and his culture, that he can go out and say, hire these guys. They're great guys, but if you don't, I'm going to take them back. I'm going to beat your ass.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't think there's not a feeling with the Lions that it's like this guy wants out or this guy wants to run the show. These guys, while I'm sure it crosses their mind, I think they're very like, I don't know. I just think it feels more old school with the Lions than a lot of other teams where there's not this feeling of I want to be number one. It's a much more team culture even in the coaching staff. So I don't see it. I don't know. I don't see it. Yeah. But
somebody needs to hire Steve Spagnuolo, and it should be the Raiders.
I don't think he's going to go either.
I think if he wants a job, somebody needs to hire him, and it needs to be the Raiders.
I don't think he does. Why would you leave the Chiefs?
To be a head coach. People want it.
Dude, I get
what
you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But for a lot of these guys, especially the older guys, like younger guys, maybe they want to get out of the nest early. But these older guys who have been DCs for God knows how long, OCs for God knows how long, they're making more than their share of money. He's got 3 Super Bowls under his belt, and there's probably 3 more loading. Why are you like, I get it, but you're just an idiot. Like, you're gonna leave and some other guy's gonna come in, like the ass that was the OC for the Chiefs last year was like, I'm gonna leave, and was like all like big guy, like I'm the reason they won, whatever, and then he sucked ass. And he's not even in the NFL anymore. So, like, you're just blowing up your career. Like, I think Spags is too smart. I think of the two, Aaron Glenn might get a job. He's a bit more advanced in his career, but Ben Johnson, I think, is smart enough to stay. I don't think Spags will get a job or will interview for a job.
Well, this isn't interviews. This is just requests. But he's gotten 3 requests. I don't know if he's interviewed, so you may be right. Going off of the idea that Spags wants to be a head coach, it needs to be the Raiders. Because, for one, you go and you play Patrick Mahomes. So, obviously, in division rival, you need a guy who at least knows how to beat Patrick Mahomes just a little bit. And the second thing is you can't just let the Chiefs stay the same. You have to actively try and make the Chiefs worse. Because if you let them stay the same, like they have the same coaches except for the OC, and they went and they got all these good wide receivers. Now they're probably looking to go to the Super Bowl again. If everybody else, if they stay the same, then there's not a good chance that they'll get to the Super Bowl. With the Chiefs, if you allow them to stay the same, they will probably be in the Super Bowl for the next 5 years.
But why would Spags break it up if he's a part of the winning?
I'm not arguing if Spags wants to stay or not. I just a point about somebody needs to try and hire Spags just to try and win Super Bowls. If you don't want the Chiefs to win 10 more Super Bowls, you got to try and do something.
I don't think it matters though. Like, that's the thing. I don't think it matters. I think whoever steps into the next position will be just as good. Like,
as a DC?
Yeah, that's my point is, like, why you've got all – it's the same thing for Ben Johnson. You've got all these weapons. It just happens to be the defensive end. You know they're going to win. Like, despite you, they're going to win. So for the same reason, like if it's any other guy, if it's any other quarterback other than Patrick Mahomes, you go, well, he knows Patrick Mahomes in and out. He practices against him every week, but also it's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And he doesn't give a who's on the other side of the field.
Yeah.
And with the last thing the Raiders need also is a defensive head coach. Like the NFL in this era right now, defensive head coaches do not win championships. Like they just don't. That's just what it is. You need an offensive coordinator because let's look around the league at 99% of the fumble in the last 2 minutes. They're all defensive head coaches. They have no clue what they're doing. They don't know how to manage a game. They don't know how to get a team inspired on offense. They don't know how to get empower the OC to do stuff. They're a fucking mess. And now, granted, most of them are are terrible franchises to begin with, right? But they're not. It's just, I don't know. I like in today's world, it's very hard to have Dan Quinn is probably the most successful defensive head coach this year, off the top of my head that I can think of.
Houston's offense has been down. I agree with you, but they've been successful.
D'Amico has been successful there. Now Bobby Slowick is their OC. He was getting head coaching nods, and then ended up staying, which was obviously the right move for him. But most of these teams, I think those are some exceptions to it. But you look across the rest of the league, and most of these guys who are defensive head coaches, I mean, they're just a mess. Even Seattle, and how good Mike McDonald has been this year, they're a mess in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So I feel like most of these teams, it's just, you got to have an OC or you got to have a head coach or just have a head coach that's like Dan that's willing to just relinquish a lot of stuff and make the big decisions when it comes to late game because it's so important in the NFL. We've talked about it all year, how close these games are. It's just so important to have good time management.
All right, we'll talk about the biggest one out here and then we'll move on. Bears. It's everybody's talking about it. Everybody wants to know. I'm thinking, as I look through this list, I can hand it to you so you can look through it. I'm thinking maybe Cliff Kingsbury. That's what's going through. If they can't get Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn.
Have they requested to interview him?
Yeah.
Oh, my. What the is wrong with these owners? Do we not remember what he did in Arizona? How brain dead are these guys?
I'm just going off of what you said.
No, I'm not you. I'm just saying these owners. Are they brain dead? Did you not watch what happened in Arizona? Do you not see how they were? Do you not see?
I mean, the Bears franchise has been dog shit for a while now.
But you don't hire dog. You don't polish a turd and expect it to be gold.
I'm saying that they're in love with turds. They can't dictate what's turd from gold.
God,
they don't know what the difference is.
Good God.
So just look how many people they're interviewing. They don't know. They have no idea what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Out of that list, who would you say would be the best or most likely to get a job? Todd Monken is the Ravens OC.
Yeah. Where am I looking? Oh, Bears over here. Okay, Todd Monken.
Dude.
Ron Rivera. Good God. Arthur Smith. Good Lord. Cliff Kingsbury. Good Lord. I hate all these names. Mike McCarthy, probably. Because he's been in, of all the guys, he's an offensive head coach. He's been in the league long enough to where he can settle everyone. He's not going to take nonsense. He's a little bit of in some ways that he's just going to let the management do what they want to do, right? He's just going to sit there and be like, all right, fine, do what you want to do. And that's what you need. I look down this list, Cliff Kingsbury, just let him be an OC in DC. Ben Johnson, I don't want to see Ben Johnson go there, get fired, and then and then end up as an OC somewhere, or just go on this coaching thing where he's like a head coach for, I don't know. I just want him to be successful, and the Bears are not going to make him successful. Aaron Glenn, defensive head coach, I just don't think it's a right fit for.
Yeah, they need to work
for
on
him. Brian Flores, again, defensive DC, I don't think it's a good fit. Pete Carroll, same thing. Todd Monken, nah. Arthur Smith, nah. The only guy in here that makes sense to me is Mike McCarthy. He's also in a division with the Packers. It's a division that he is familiar with, very familiar with. Obviously, he was the head coach of the Packers, so he knows the Vikings, he knows the Packers, he knows the Lions. He's familiar with the entirety of the division. He's an offensive head coach. He's well established, he's respected, and he's got the other thing here, and we talked about it off camera a lot with Bill, is going to college, what guys are going to be willing to fill out the rest of his staff, right? Mike McCarthy's got a staff.
Yeah.
He's going to walk into the building and say, "You're all fired, you can go," and then he's going to usher in his guys. The rest of these guys, I'm sure they've thought about it, I'm sure they've got ideas, but it's going to be a show. All of these guys are either failed head coaches or coordinators. Maybe sometimes you should just be a coordinator. Mike McCarthy is the best fit for this in my eyes of all these teams here. He just dealt with this is the Kmart version of the Cowboys, right? Because they've got a wily owner, they've got a GM that just folds to the owner. Basically, the owner's the GM. You're gonna have to deal with the same thing in Chicago. So he's the only one that I think is equipped to do it. Being what he did in Dallas, how much I dislike him, he was successful in Dallas to a degree. Did they win playoff games? No.
But regular season, I think he was 50 and
that's
30.
What the Bears need. They need a couple regular seasons to just get the ship moving, get them pushed off ashore, get them going. That's the best fit for me and for Caleb, especially coaching Aaron Rodgers. There's a similar player profile there that I think he could have a ball with Caleb Williams. Would the relationship be fun and would they be hugging on the sideline? No. But could they be a good football team, and could Caleb grow as a player under Mike McCarthy? I think so.
All right.
I think so.
What you got?
Well, coming off of the coaching thing, I wanted to talk a little bit about two guys specifically, and it's the Lions guys. And I don't love, since we're talking about coaching, I don't love how many interviews they took. I get that you got the bye week, but let's lock in here on the playoff game you're going to play. And Ben Johnson had 4 interviews in 48 hours. Patriots, Raiders, Bears, Jags, which we're not talking about the Jags. That job is just, I don't know who wants that job. And then you've got Aaron Glenn. He had 5 interviews in 72 hours. Jets, Saints, Raiders, Jags, Bears. I don't love that. If I get it as Dan Campbell, you're we've got the bye week. We've got everything set up. Go do your thing, guys. See what you can do. But I don't.
There's a window there. So if they don't, I think you shouldn't be allowed to hire a head coach until after the Super Bowl, because if they don't have that bye week, they have to interview within that time period, while their players are practicing. You know?
Prepping and stuff. I just don't love it, and it makes me nervous for this game. Now, God bless America that it's the Commanders, hopefully, but that helps out for sure, but I don't love it, and it makes me a little bit nervous going forward.
And that's the reason why they said Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn didn't get coaching positions last year, is because they went deep into the playoffs, and by the time they got out, everybody had already been hired. So I think for sure that you got to change it. You got to make it after the Super Bowl. That's when interview process starts for all these teams. You can't be doing it because just think about this. The coaches that are available, either we're not coaching, or if they're an OC or DC, their teams stink because they're not in the playoffs. Yeah. So just wait till after the Super Bowl, then you can start doing
interviewing. Yeah, I think that would be worthwhile, and I think the hard thing is I think the reason why they let them do this though is because Draft is kind of right around the corner, and if you're going to get a new head coach in, you got to get your guys in and get your draft board ready, because most likely whatever draft board you had, the other team is keeping, and so you got to rebuild a draft board. You got to go in and do a bunch of changing and all the pleasantries and stuff. So I get it, but at the same time, it would be better if it was after the Super Bowl. Next one we're gonna go to here. This is kind of the 5 things I saw on the internet. Most of them are not happy, to be honest with you. The next one here is Georgia's quarterback Carson Beck has committed to, well, first off, he entered the transfer portal with a don't call tag, and then subsequently committed to Miami.
So a don't call tag is like, I'm not taking any offers?
No, I'm not taking offers. I'm going to make my decision. So he decided to commit to Miami. Obviously, Cam Ward is entering the draft, so it's, it's not like he's not battling with anyone for a quarterback spot. But originally, after the injury, he was like, all right, I'm going to get ready for the draft. I'm going to have surgery. I'm going to get ready for the draft. And basically what came back is like, you suck. You suck. No one wants you. You're going to go in the 5th round.
Yeah.
And the craziest part is he's going to make more money than most of the rookies in the NFL draft, which is ridiculous. It is. Like, $4 million is what they're going to spend of their $20 million cap space that we talked about. They're going to spend a 5th of what NIL money they have on Carson Beck. And I can't call him a bum because I liked him coming out of the beginning of the year. But as the year continued to go on, I understand where you're at, Georgia fans, because I agree with you. And we picked our college teams after going forward from this year on, and I'm sticking with Georgia. I'm glad to see him gone after the debacle of performances he put up. But, man, I just can't understand it. I don't know. I good for Miami, I guess.
Yeah, but what's in Miami for him? Because I don't
know college, so I have no idea. But it's just he's going back to hopefully redeem some of his draft stock, and then I just think he's going to have a Stetson Bennett trajectory where he's going to still get drafted. He's going to go back, and then he's still going to get drafted in the 4th round or 5th round or something. So that's the next one there. After that, I just wanted to throw this up here, this little comparison. This is a comparison between the frame of actually, no, I'm not even going to give you the NFL player. Okay. Donald Trump is 6'3", 245.
Damn.
What's the NFL comp in terms of frame?
6'3", 245?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Because I want to say linebacker, but usually
it's a running back. I'll just give you
it's a running back. A running back who's 6'3".
Yeah.
There's only like one running back in the league that's 6'3". I guess he could be 240. Derrick Henry.
Yeah. 6'3", 245. Trump's a tank. Dude.
Yeah, Trump's a tank. Trump's got the same measurements as King Henry.
Yeah, dude. It's a different build. But
somebody get him on a 1 year.
Yeah.
A-gap blast, dude.
Yeah. Build the wall. And then the last one here, there's technically only 4. The Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn are one of their own. But this is the last one here. This is a screenshot of a tweet that was posted on Instagram. Quote, I think men created fantasy football to be able to talk to their friends for 17 weeks out of the year and have to I think men created fantasy football to be able to talk to their friends for 17 weeks out of the year and not have to talk about real stuff. No relationships or politics talk. Only Jameis Winston. I just thought of you when I saw that, and I was like, yeah,
that is true.
That's pretty accurate.
I mean, we have a friend who recently just figured out that him and his girlfriend are pregnant, and the thing that he sent you was a parlay.
Yeah.
He sent you a parlay.
Yeah.
It was like you found out from his
I texted
mouth.
him. Not even from his mouth. I texted him and I was like, you're going to be a father? And he's like, dude, look at this parlay. And I was like, brother.
That is dudes' relationships. Because, like, you guys send parlays back and forth, and he didn't even tell you that, like, yeah, I'm going to have a child.
No.
He was like, check out this parlay. This almost hit, too.
Yeah.
Damn.
If the Yankees didn't suck. You know who you are. And then the last one here is not really a, like, thing from the internet. I don't have like a post to throw up, but I found out today that Bo Nix since week 6 has been playing with 3 fractures in his back. Damn. Which is just wild. Like, there's obviously guys that have been, like Fred Warner was playing with a broken ankle the whole year, but like as a quarterback,
it's crazy for a rookie quarterback to have 3 fractures in your back in week 6.
I know the exact play it is. There's a play where he is throwing on the run and play action, and he like plants and twists, and then he's like holding his back as he's running off the field, and then they put a heating pack on it the rest of the game. I don't remember which game it is. I think it was week 6.
Here,
it was
I have a
week.
question
It was actually was week 6. But for a quarterback, especially a rookie quarterback, your back is very important. Obviously, there's guys that play with worse stuff, but like that's. Ugh.
Do you think it was Bo's decision because in preseason he had a QB battle with Zach Wilson and Jared Stidham? Mm-hmm. Or do you think it was a Sean Payton like, hey, you got to play? Like if you're not going to re-injure or like get worse, you got to play.
No, I think I from what it sounds like it was I don't remember the prefix to the injury, but at the end of it, it's a process fracture. And if I remember my biology, a process is like a jut out. Like if my finger's like this, a process is something that juts out. So it's some sort of stress fracture. Okay. So I don't think it's serious enough to take him out. And I think it's one of those things that you just live with. The same way you have like stress fractures in your ribs.
Gotcha.
I think it's one of those things where it's like you just mitigate pain because there's no surgery, and resting doesn't really make any. What?
Perky Bo.
Yeah, I like resting doesn't really do anything for you, like to it, because it's gonna be there. It's just a matter of time. Like with stress fractures, they just heal. Like, and there's not surgery to be had on that sort of thing. So I think it's one of those things that's like, he's a tough guy. I think he was like, I'm gonna play, and especially when you're on that sort of a hot streak. And the offensive line played really well this year. Yeah, so he wasn't taking a lot of hits.
That's got to be a lot of pressure. Be like, hey, your rookie quarterback back is fucked up. Yeah. You better not let him take that many sacks.
Yeah, he wasn't taking a lot of hits. And it also makes me question a little bit, not question, but it puts a question mark and it makes me a little bit hopeful for next year, looking at some of those deep ball throws where you really got to get your back. You know, you're really torquing your back, and you're getting a lot of that into it, where, you know, you're bringing that ball all the way back. You're relying on your back muscles to really, you know, contract and then pop. I wonder how much of some of the deep ball inaccuracy sometimes, especially with like the Troy Franklin shots and stuff. I wonder how much of that'll get cleaned up, because I mean, obviously, if your back is not feeling great and you try and unload like that, you're going to kind of at the end of every throw. Yeah. So I wonder how much of some of he's not inaccurate, but some of the inaccuracy that we saw in terms of throwing the ball deep.
Yeah, even some of those
clean up.
It was funny because it's like, wow, he's making great decisions, and then he'll just like throw a random one-off pick.
Yeah.
It could have been something like that.
Yeah, it could have been. It puts
everybody calling him a check down merchant. He had a broken back.
Yeah, so I'm hopeful, really, is what I'm pointing to there with that one. Other than that, I mean, the rest of the playoffs this week were just like, I mean, the best game we got was Commanders Bucs.
Bucs, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the best one. I'm so happy the Ravens dealt business.
Yeah. You know. Yeah. Russ, hey, everybody, there's Russell Wilson for you.
Yeah.
What's their quarterback situation?
Shit, I don't know. Sam Darnold?
I think they blow it up this year. I think this is finally the year. I think they let go of Mike this year.
A lot of people were talking about like maybe trading for Mike, but Shefty, he was like, I don't see that happening.
You know, the one defensive guy that could work for the Bears is Mike.
Ooh.
Because that's a vibes guy.
Yeah, McCarthy. He's from Pittsburgh.
No. I'm talking about Tomlin.
Oh, Tomlin.
Yeah, I'm talking about Tomlin. That could work as a defensive.
For who?
For the Bears.
Oh, for the Bears.
Yeah, I think that's a DC that could. Is he a DC or is he a culture guy?
I think he's both.
Okay,
but I think he's a defensive guy.
Yeah, I think that could work with how vibesy he is. I think so.
And
they need an adult in the room.
Yeah,
they need an adult.
100%. I thought you were talking about McCarthy going to Pittsburgh.
Oh. I would if Pittsburgh blows it up, I would love that spot for Ben Johnson because you've got a great defense that's already figured out, and you just plug and play. You grab your quarterback you want, and you can plug and play. White man of the week.
So this white man of the week, he's not really gonna have a spiel as much as it's just gonna be an appreciation.
Appreciation.
You know. This might be a little bit mean to say, but we might have had our first Make-A-Wish player play in the NFL today. Or not today, yesterday.
Oh, gosh. Where are we going with this, pal?
I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm just going to come out and say Zane Gonzalez. Me and you were both named Zane. A lot of people are giving you hate on the internet for fixing your hair 13 million times, and I was looking at it, I was like, yeah, that is weird. So I went and I looked on the internet, and I was like, he's got to have had long hair.
At some point
in time. And I looked at college, his other teams that he's been on. Mm-hmm. No. He has always had this short flipping hair. So you go back to that flipping video where he's like, it literally looks like he's pushing hair out of his eyes, and he's not doing anything.
Yeah.
It's just, this guy's a psycho. This guy's a legit psycho. But hey, if you could jerk off on the sidelines as long as you make the kick. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you got to do to get the job done. That's the shit I'm preaching. I don't care if they're talking about you fidgeting with your hair. You can pull your balls out and wipe it on the ball as long as you make your kicks. So Zane Gonzalez, me and you, both Zanes. Both Make-A-Wish kids. Congratulations, Zane. Congratulations, me.
Congratulations, you. Congratulations, you. All right, game ball. Game ball of the week. I wanted to give this one to a running back because I think there was a lot of running backs in this week that really showed up. There was some games that hung in the balance in a way, but these guys just kind of took control and said, this is our game. I thought about giving it to Joe Mixon, but that defense won that game. I'm going to hand this one off to Derrick Henry. Ooh. This is Derrick Henry's game ball this week. Derrick had 26 carries for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns. Did not catch a pass. He is a running back. A running back.
Yeah, he runs the ball.
Longest rush was 44 yards. I believe that was for a tug.
Yeah, I think so.
So, game ball of the week, Derrick Henry.
Yeah, and he really deserves it. I mean, he was at one point, everyone was like, he should win MVP. And then, Saquon did his thing, and then he's kind of like gotten less praise. But I don't think he deserves any less praise than he had at the beginning of the year. He's still an outstanding running back, doing it at 31 years old. He had
a quarterback stat line. He had more rushing yards than Lamar did throw the ball.
Jesus.
And 2 touchdowns. So, 26 carries to 21 passes for Lamar. He put together a quite the day. Like, literally outstatted. He had the ball more than Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I'm just going to call it what it is. He had the ball more than Lamar Jackson. Well, Lamar did have a lot of rushing attempts.
Yeah, it was just a ground and pound game.
Yeah. At one point in the game, they ran the ball 15 times.
Yeah. Honestly, this is
in a row.
When they ran the ball 15 times in a row, I basically creamed in my pants. It is what I've been. Don't look down at my pants when I say that.
I looked at your shirt.
I looked at my shirt. But I have been waiting for that this entire season. Like, power running backs are back. I'm like, yes, I want to see the old school Tampa Bay Bucs with Mike Oslott. I just want to see them just like flipping go, and they're like, we're going to do this no matter what. Mm-hmm. And we finally got it in the playoffs with my favorite team, with my favorite running back ever. And it was just a pure bliss moment. And I want to take time to appreciate power running backs. They need to be in the league. They need to stick around. And goddamn, you could win a Super Bowl just running the ball. I swear to God, you could do it. If you build the right offense, you could win a Super Bowl only running the ball.
Yeah, we'll see if they've got Zay Flowers for this upcoming game, which is a good segue. Are you ready to get into it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into predictions. Okay, so Zane went 5 of 6. I went 1 of 5. It was a terrible week for me. He's got the leg up in this first tie-breaking round since we finished 8-8 on the year. Now, we start on Saturday night with the Texans and the Chiefs. I'm going to let you go first on this one here.
So we got a lot of comments on our latest prediction when the Texans won. Obviously, just like, you guys are stupid. Stuff
We didn't
like that.
account for Justin Herbert throwing 4 interceptions after throwing 3 for the year. He literally threw more interceptions in one game than he did for the year.
100%. But with the criticisms that I had made about C.J. Stroud and the struggles that the Texans have had, they were still prevalent in the game where they beat the Chargers.
They were all valid.
C.J. Stroud, again, we talked about them not being able to score in the second half. In the third quarter, they got a TD by an interception. The defense scored them a TD. And then in the fourth quarter, it was a Joe Mixon TD. So again, in the playoffs, C.J. Stroud, just in general, C.J. Stroud struggles to score in the second half of games. Yep. That is true. And when it comes to just his overall play this year compared to last year, it's just overall it is down. He is the only QB who is in the divisional round. I should say that better. He's the only QB who won this week with under 100 QBR rating.
Wow.
He's the only QB. So it is an outlier, and their defense is good, and it is important to have a good defense. Most of the teams that win Super Bowls have great defense. Yeah. I mean, like last year with Spags and what that defense was able to do. The year the Rams won it with Aaron Donald. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Aaron Donald. And then, obviously, Patriots, Bill Belichick, defensive mind head coach. Like, having a defense is important, but they also had a superstar X-Factor quarterback. And I think C.J. Stroud can be that. I just don't think it is this year. They got to improve that offensive line to be able to let him thrive. So, yeah, I think it's pretty clear. I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the superstar X-Factor quarterback instead of the guy who really – and I love CJ, but he got bailed out by his defense.
Yeah.
And then Justin Herbert threw 4 picks. Yeah. I mean – which is all the defense, by the way. So
you're not going to get that in the Chiefs game.
And you can't win. Like, when you look at what he's doing in the fourth quarter and you think about how Patrick Mahomes has gotten to his Super Bowls and how he's won those Super Bowls, it's the complete opposite of what you want.
Yeah, they're a front-running team. If they're not front-running going into the second half, then they can't win. And when you're playing the Chiefs, you can't expect to be front-running because they're just built to win by 2. So I wanted to go Texans in this, but I think CJ will end this year 2-2 in the playoffs. And so I'm gonna go Chiefs with you. Like I said, I wanted to go Texans, but after just like looking back at that game and looking through the drives and how many just like crucial third downs were missed and how many bailouts there were, I don't believe in it. It's got to come to an end. It was a great story that came out one against a Chargers team and a Justin Herbert that has issues, but ultimately the Chiefs are just too good.
Yeah, and everybody's healthy for the Chiefs. Like, they finally got all of their wide receivers that they have back, and that was the first time they've scored by, I think they won by more than 2 scores, wasn't it? As soon as they got everybody back?
One of a couple times, but yeah.
Yeah, one of a couple of times. So they're hot right now. They're going to be hot coming out of this game. So.
But on the other side of that, at the same time, Patrick Mahomes hasn't thrown a pass since Christmas.
That is true.
So, but if there's any team that can do it, it's them. I think we're getting to the end of Travis Kelce. I wouldn't be surprised if they win the Super Bowl this year if he calls it quits.
Yeah.
Which will be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
But I think they continue their streak and they at least get to the AFC Championship.
Yeah, 100%.
So we're both going Chiefs in that one. Next one, we've got Lions Mandos. We've talked about the coaching stuff. I look at this game and brain just says Lions the whole way. Being able to just control the ground game against the Commanders. We saw in this game the most rushing yards that the Commanders put up against a Bucs defense was 36 by an individual player, and that was Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
So it's not promising when you're playing the Lions, who just control the field and have shown that they've got a superstar X factor in Jahmyr Gibbs, who can just win you a football game by himself and take a football game over, and just the ability to control the field. Jaden's a little too young to make that upset, I think, and that team is a couple players away from really being able to compete in the upper ranks of when we're talking about an NFC championship. Yeah. So I'm going to take the Lions.
I'm going to take the Lions as well because of that one commercial with Peyton Manning. I forget who else it was. They were in the Lions Stadium, and they filled a bathtub up with Jack Daniels, and they put salt in it, and they uncursed the Lions. Uh-huh. I've heard rumors Peyton Manning is in Detroit right now.
Oh, really?
And it has been rumored that he is carrying 2/5 of Jack Daniels, and he is sprinting towards the Lions Stadium. And his buddy's bringing a bathtub, and they're going to do it again. So it's almost a guarantee that they win this week. Okay. So give me the Lions.
All right. We head to Sunday afternoon, where we see the Rams take on the Eagles. And in my ESPN bracket that I put together, I had if the Bucs won their game, I had them beating the Eagles. Obviously, that is no longer.
Yeah.
But this is the test. Mm-hmm. This is the test. If the Eagles can survive this, then they've got a real hell of a shot against the Lions.
Yeah.
But I have been scared of. I've been saying all year, I'm just waiting for them to meet an offense with a real pulse. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people say that they haven't had the offenses with a pulse. They haven't been able to show up because they've been playing the Eagles defense. Yada yada. Dan Green, suck my balls. Give me the Rams.
Ooh, taking the Rams. I was gonna say, am I allowed to say the Rams are hot? Anything to do with temperature? Am I allowed to say that they're hot? They're on fire? Am I allowed to say that? I don't know. But when the Rams are at a very high temperature, they are legit unstoppable. Mm-hmm. They are one of the best football teams.
They just manhandled the Vikings tonight.
Yeah, they manhandled the Vikings.
That defensive front is so good. Jared Verse is the only rookie Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
Golly, they've got a ferocious defensive front. Yeah. Everyone was worried about them without Aaron Donald, but man.
Yeah, they are looking very very
Megan Fox-esque.
Yeah, very Megan Fox-esque. But the problem is when they have such high highs, they fall to really low lows really fast.
But they're one big play away from opening a game. That's the problem. And there's no weak spots that you can find with that team. Like Kyron is a firecracker. Puka, we know what he is. Yeah. I think it's time to start putting him in the conversation with Jettas and Jamar Chase. Like for real, he is a top 3 receiver, I think, in this league, and we just forget about him because he hasn't been healthy this year. Yeah. Cooper Kupp is a massive X factor.
But with those low lows, they hang heavy, like the penalties today. Like they were so high that the penalties didn't matter. They had enough scores to where, and their defense played so great that the Vikings couldn't come back. But they had 4 penalties in a row on 5 plays. Yeah. Like that's ridiculous, and it is kind of a microcosm of how they can just fall into a hole and not be able to climb back out. Mm-hmm. It's happened this season where it's like they're so good, they're so bad, they're so good, they're so bad. So it's really hard to tell what they're going to be week to week. Mm-hmm. And I really do love the Rams, but I am going to take the Eagles.
You're going to take the Eagles.
I'm not going to make another Big Dom Jersey sub skit. This week was about temperatures.
I just think when it comes down to it, who do I want in a 2-minute drill? And it's Matt Stafford.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Over Jalen Hurts. I believe in him more, and I think I'm rolling with the Rams here. Okay, Sunday night football. We have no Monday night football. We've got Ravens versus Bills.
Yeah.
In Sunday night football, this is arguably the best game of the week. Aside from, I think that Rams-Eagles game is going to be pretty darn good.
Oh, yeah. I think
but Ravens-Bills is the highlight, the MVP. Like this, in a weird way, even though it's a regular season award, is like Rams or the Ravens manhandled the Bills earlier this year. Just made them look like piss.
Yeah.
Since then, they've gone. The Bills went on a tear. They beat the Lions. They beat the Chiefs. Like, their only two losses are Rams and Ravens. So I know which way you got to go.
Yeah, of course.
And I got to contradict you. I'm going Bills.
Ooh, I understand it. I understand it. It is the two MVP frontrunners going head-to-head. Do you know, did they submit their votes before the playoffs start? Did we ever figure that out?
I think they have. I think so.
I feel like somebody's sneaking in. Like, after the playoffs are done, I feel like everybody's kind of like sneaking in, or they're like, hey, I'll get you a reservation at this spot if you change my vote. I think they're doing that. I'm just saying. Either way, Lamar's just a chill dude. Lamar and Josh Allen are both chill dudes. I think Lamar might be even more of a chill dude. When's the last time there's been anything in the media about Lamar besides playing great football? I can't think of one. And then you got Derrick Henry with that dump truck of a fucking ass. Absolute horse, just flipping, running up the A-gap. And like I said, I truly do believe you can win a Super Bowl only running the ball. And that's what we did last game. We destroyed the Steelers. I'm so happy we did it. Screw you guys. Give me the Ravens.
Yeah, the Bills are. I think the other thing is I'm selfish in this, in that I want to see Bills versus Chiefs. We were talking about this off camera, that if the Chiefs and the Ravens play, it'll be a good game. Yeah. But it's just because it's a good game. There's no beef, to your point of there's nothing in the media about Lamar.
The only beef is Justin Tucker versus Travis Kelce.
Right. So I want to see the Bills play this game, and I want to see it come down to overtime, and I want Josh to get the ball.
Yeah.
And get the opportunity to send the Chiefs home in overtime and have them just have to live with it
which will be the most important game of Patrick Mahomes' career.
Yeah,
would be that game, because I don't think, he could be in another opportunity to three-peat, but it's very unlikely.
It'll be in Arrowhead Stadium, and the whole thing of Burrowhead Stadium. Josh needs to get over the hump, and this is the year. What would it be
called? Allenhead Stadium?
Steinfeld Head Stadium.
Why would it be? Oh, yeah. Yeah, what if Haley Steinfeld shows up?
Taylor Swift versus Steinfeld?
They counteract their powers.
Yeah.
Their influence is fighting against each other, like in an anime. And then, she's Son Goku, and she's throwing her ball against Vegeta. Not Vegeta. Who was it? Cell. And then Josh Allen comes up behind her, defeats Taylor Swift and Patrick Mahomes' wife. I don't know her name.
Okay, let's play. The last thing I want to do here is play a little game, because we're obviously talking about the playoffs, and I mentioned I want Matt Stafford over Jalen Hurts. Let's play a little game in the NFC called Would You Rather. This is a who's the best quarterback in the NFC?
Matt Stafford's wife.
Would you rather have Jaden Daniels or Sam Darnold?
Jaden Daniels.
Would you rather have Jaden Daniels or Jordan Love?
Jaden Daniels.
Would you rather have Jaden Daniels or Michael Penix?
Jaden Daniels.
Would you rather have Jaden Daniels or Kyler Murray?
Jaden Daniels. Screw Kyler Murray.
Would you rather have Jaden Daniels or Dak Prescott?
Jaden Daniels.
Would you rather have Jaden Daniels or Brock Purdy?
Oh, I hate you. Jaden Daniels.
Would you rather have Jaden Daniels or Baker Mayfield?
Baker Mayfield.
Wow, okay.
He had a higher QBR than Jaden Daniels did that game.
Okay. Would you rather have Baker Mayfield or Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts.
Would you rather have Jalen Hurts or Jared Goff?
Jalen Hurts.
Okay. So you could argue Jaden Daniels is a top 3 quarterback in the NFC.
Yeah.
Would you rather now the final? Would you rather have Jalen Hurts or Matt Stafford?
Matthew Stafford. I'm always I've been a Matthew Stafford guy.
So you look down the list here, and what it signals to me is it's going to be scary hours for the NFC when Jaden Daniels gets a defense behind him and a running game that really works.
Yeah.
He's a top 3 quarterback in the NFC, and I think we overlooked. He's a rookie, but I think we overlooked and kind of just poo-pooed the idea of him being the MVP. And the same way that everyone is really high about C.J. Stroud going into next year, going into this year. I'm that high. I'm that high as like Jaden Daniels MVP next year.
Yeah, I am the same as you, but because of C.J. Stroud's second year, I think he will taper.
Regress.
Yeah, he'll regress a bit. Like he'll still probably make the playoffs just like C.J. Stroud, but I don't think he's going to improve. Like we all thought C.J. Stroud was only going to get better, and I think a lot of people are thinking Jaden Daniels is only going to get better. I think there's going to be at least a year or two of growing pains still, even though he didn't have him his first year.
I think the only quarterback in the NFC I would take over him is Matt Stafford.
Matt.
I think it's Matt and then Jaden. Like I would take him over Jalen Hurts most of the time, just with how like Jalen Hurts has a lot of intangibles and a lot of he's a fullback. Like when he gets into the open field, he turns into a fullback. But just what Jaden Daniels has been able to accomplish this year with the team he has is outstanding.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. And like what was it, Collinsworth? What he was saying, like they didn't change a lot about that team. It's a lot of the same guys, just new coaches and a rookie QB.
The last thing I want to bring up here, which I forgot to bring up in the top 5 things about the internet, but last thing I want to bring up here, just to preface the rest of the playoffs and kind of how I'm going to be looking at this. We talked about average age of Super Bowl team winners. And the average age is around 27 and 3 months. So the teams that are currently the closest to that are the Bills, the Eagles, the Lions. Bills, Eagles, Lions. Those are the teams that are the closest. The oldest team in the playoffs, believe it or not, we just got done talking about them, is the Commanders. And the youngest team in the playoffs is the Packers.
Yeah, 2 years in a row.
Broncos are second youngest team. But based on that, the teams that are the closest here, Bills, Eagles, Lions, and Bills, Eagles, Lions, they're the best teams in the league. And there's a real big window right now, obviously, of I think there's a giant window, obviously, for the Lions if they can continue to keep their feet moving here. But I think, I just think it's interesting. Keep it in mind while we're going through I'm going to be keeping it in mind as we go through the rest of the playoffs here.
Let me put $100 on all 3 of those teams.
All right, Jackasses, that's the show.
Last one.
Okay.
We didn't talk about the Jags or the Saints. Just give me something about it. Who can turn around those franchises? What do they need? The Jags are interesting because you have Trevor Lawrence. You were high on him last year.
They're not interesting.
What do you mean?
They're not interesting.
They got a quarterback.
No, they don't. Mac Jones is a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence this year.
If I have time, I'm gonna pull every Trevor Lawrence.
I know.
I've been bamboozled.
Like what's his name? Like Colin Cowherd says, I have new information. All right. I've got new information.
I watched a couple of games.
I've got new information. Trevor Lawrence is not the guy we thought he was. The playoff game was a complete fluke. I kind of feel the same way about Justin Herbert. I'm not gonna lie. And I feel the opposite. I just the Jags' job is not interesting to me. They're gonna be a dumpster fire. Save free Brian Thomas Jr. He's a rookie. Free him. Who's going to be the guy that goes there?
Brian Flores is available. Let me read.
What's the Raiders head coach that got fired?
Antonio Pierce?
Antonio Pierce.
He's not getting another
Give me
job.
Antonio Pierce. I don't know, dude. Who have they interviewed?
Joe Brady, Bills offense coordinator. Brian Flores, Aaron Gled, Ben Johnson, Todd Monken, Kellen Moore, Eagles offense coordinator. Robert Saleh and Steve Spags. I wouldn't be mad if Robert Saleh got hired there.
No, I want him to be in D.C. somewhere. He's a D.C. We saw what he was. We saw that his inability to rally guys. Just because you're a defensive coordinator that is good at his job does not mean that you're a leader of men. And he's not a leader of men.
Funny thing about this, they have not interviewed anybody who's been a head coach except for Robert Saleh.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they've been head coaches, but they all are currently offensive defense coordinators.
Like, I hate it, but I hate doing this to the Bills. But, like, maybe Joe Brady. Like, that's a similar player profile in terms of, like, quarterback. But, like, we have no idea what he is in terms of, like, late game management. He's up in the box, dude. Like, I don't know. Let's stick freaking... What are the DCs, the defensive guys that they...
Spags, Aaron Glenn, Brian Flores.
Put Brian Flores there.
Robert Saleh.
Brian Flores. I don't know. They'll probably hire Robert Saleh. Probably. Yeah, I don't know. Saints head coach, Brian Flores for sure. That feels like the right guy there.
They surprisingly have not requested, at least as of right now, they've not requested to interview Brian Flores.
Who have they requested?
Aaron Glenn, Cliff Kingsbury, Kellen Moore, Mike McCarthy. They have the shortest
You know
list.
what? Actually, I take the Jags back. Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore?
Just put Kellen Moore there.
For the Jags?
Yeah, he's a college phenom. He played at Boise. He's the Liberty play.
Oh.
Quarterback. He's a college guy who probably just looks at Trevor Lawrence and just creams his pants. So just put him there.
Yeah. It is interesting the Saints have only interviewed 4 guys. Well, they haven't even interviewed Mike yet. Mm-hmm. So they've. I
think they didn't want to fire their head coach. They just did because they sucked. Like, I don't think that they really wanted to fire him. He wasn't like it wasn't. They were injury riddled. They had Derek Carr, who was in and out of the lineup. I mean, they didn't have an offense. I don't think they wanted to fire their head coach. Just someone's head needed to roll.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's it for me, unless you have a Jets prediction.
Gosh. Hire Robert Saleh again.
I honestly, there's one outlier, and he's only requested the interview with one team because he's been the head coach before, Rex Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
Just
put Rex Ryan back in the seat,
just
please.
For fun. Just to talk about it every week. Yeah. I would be fine with Rex Ryan there. Just because it's a good storyline.
Yeah,
put Rex in there. You're never going to be good. Just give up dreams of ever going positive.
Can we just move the Jets out of New Jersey?
Honestly, yes. It is about time that they flip and relocate somewhere.
Like, can we just move them out?
You got to do something.
We don't even, like, is Aaron Rodgers coming back? Is he not? Like, Rex Ryan would be the perfect guy to have Aaron Rodgers because he'd be like, I'm so excited to have Aaron Rodgers on my team. And then they go out and lose 16 games.
I do love the idea of just moving them because, like, they are the most cursed team in the NFL. You got to do something. Like, move them. The complete opposite. Put them in Southern California.
Put them in Portland.
Yeah, or Portland.
The Portland Jets.
Yeah, the Portland Jets. Yeah, put them there.
Gosh, the Jets franchise, man. Hey, go trade us back for Zach Wilson.
Huh?
I don't know. What are they going to do?
I don't know. I don't even know what pick they have this year.
I don't even want to talk about them. Let's be done. They're such a bad franchise. I don't even want to put the...
Jackson Dart to the Jets.
No, that's where Quinn Ewers is going to go.
Quinn Ewers to the Jets.
All right. That's the end of it.
We got to do the...
I'm Devin. That's Zane. This is Buffet Sports. You can catch us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at buffet.sports. Please like the video. It's a free way to support us. It would mean a lot to us. We are struggling to eat, and we need your free likes, please.
We didn't do our parlay, but we can do it just selfie.
Oh, parlay. Quick run here. Which game you want?
It's up to you. You got a better feeling about this.
Bills.
Ravens Bills. Yeah, shootout.
Ravens Bills. Give me Josh Allen anytime.
Josh Allen anytime.
Give me Derek anytime.
Anytime.
Give me Lamar over 25 rushing yards or more.
Mm-hmm.
Khalil Shakir 4+ receptions.
Yeah, I like that.
And then how do we feel about Derrick Henry big time 90+?
90+ Derrick Henry. Yeah. I'm fine with that. A 90+ Derrick Henry.
One more line. What do we want?
I'm trying to think. Oh, let's do you want to do just throw it out there, a Bateman TD? He randomly gets a lot.
If I want a random TD, it's Max Hollins.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
I would
that
say let's
too.
go Max. If we're gonna go random TD, it's Max Hollins, like game winner.
All right, big money pick. Mac Hollins anytime TD.
Mac Hollins anytime TD. Josh Allen TD. Derrick Henry TD. Khalil Shakir 4+. Derrick Henry 90+. Lamar Jackson 25+.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, okay, good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. Dropping heat like every season. Underdog like Willie Beeman. Classic like